It's annoying. It's like annoying pain. You know what I mean? Hello everyone, my name is Monica and this is my first YouTube video. I would like to share my labor and delivery story. I know that when I was pregnant, I really enjoyed watching labor and delivery stories. It made me feel like I was preparing in a way, so for all you soon-to-be mommies, I hope this is a little helpful. And this is my boyfriend, Alfredo.
Hi everyone.
I had filmed this at first by myself, but I feel like he was a really big part of my labor and he was very supportive. So I think it was just a really good idea for you guys to also hear a little bit of his point of view. And so we'll just get started. Our daughter is just here, just so you know, if you hear her giggling.
Or if you keep seeing us looking down.
Yeah, so she's down here. So we attended a birthing class, and in the birthing class, we learned a lot. I actually really liked it, and I would recommend it to everybody. Did you like it?
Yeah, it was a really good experience. They showed us a lot of techniques on like how to like massage their belly, their back, cause their back is gonna be hurting a lot, and that's when you're gonna have to. It's basically you're gonna be rubbing her back every night. And they showed us a lot of nice techniques, and they taught us how to help her breathe. And I think it'd be good for everyone to try because it's a really nice experience.
Mhm. Yeah, it was definitely, we recommend it to everyone. And so one of the biggest things that we learned in that birthing class was that there are 4 stages of labor, and the first stage will occur when you have your first contraction up until your cervix fully dilates. So that's just to correct any confusion. I know that a lot of people consider labor a lot of different things, whether it's the second you arrive at the hospital or when you first dilate. But that's just what we learned. And so when I had my first contraction, it was Sunday morning on the 21st. I had my daughter on a Monday. So this was Sunday morning, 6 a.m. I was laying in bed and I just, they describe your contractions like a wave. It's kind of just gonna start off slowly, kind of like a cramp, and you're gonna feel it grow like a wave, and then it'll come back down. So that's exactly what I felt. For all of you who are wondering what contractions feel like, nobody really described it well to me, besides that birthing class, and that's exactly what I felt. And so um, I was like, oh my goodness, I have my first contraction. And I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell him. He was asleep. He was asleep, and that's because I waited till the very last second to take my maternity pictures. I never even scheduled a photo shoot. My sister has a really nice camera, and I just said, hey, can you take some pictures of me? Because I totally procrastinated. So that was the day I was taking those pictures. So I told myself I had to keep it my cool. I started to time it for sure, and it was kind of like 15 minutes apart. It was super mild. I was totally able to handle it. So later that day, we came home, and during the pictures was when I finally let him know. I think I
Yeah,
said,
it was like late at night when we got home.
yeah. No, I told you when we were at the park. So I got home and I knew in my head, I'm like, baby's coming, I gotta start nesting. So I was just nesting like crazy. I was putting diapers away. I was fixing all our burp cloths, getting her crib ready. Just like getting ready because I knew, I was like, she's coming. Um, so then we started timing my contractions. We were told in our birthing class to not go into the hospital unless your water breaks or until your contractions are
5 minutes, no, 5 or 3 minutes.
5 minutes.
Five.
The birthing class had said when they're 5 minutes apart, that's when you should go to the hospital.
And a minute long.
Yes, it was 5:11. So that was when we went, and that was when I called actually, because the next day was my due date. I had a doctor's appointment, and so I had called the on-call nurse, and I let her know what was going on, and I was like, I do have a doctor's appointment in the morning, so I don't know if I should stick it out because I didn't want to go to the hospital and get sent home. So I had let her know what was going on, and she was like, well, if you're having more than, I think she said, if you're having more than 5 contractions in an hour, you should definitely go because you don't want to risk having your baby at home. And I was like, okay. But I really didn't want to get sent home. I don't know. It was just like a big thing for me. I did not want to go to the hospital for a false alarm. What time was it? It was like midnight, maybe.
No,
Like 1.
it was like, yeah, it was like 1
Yeah, like
a.m.
1 a.m. So I didn't let anybody know. I just let my mom know and my dad. We let them know that we were going to go to the hospital. And so we drove over there. And once we got there, I let them know what was going on, and they were like, okay, we'll take you back and we'll just, monitor you. So she hooked me up and everything, and she checked my cervix, and I had been, was I 1 centimeter? Yeah.
Yeah, you were one.
Yes, because my last doctor's appointment was on Thursday before
Yeah,
that.
that's when you were 1, but when we got to the hospital, you were 1.5.
Yeah. That was the first time. She said, you're 1 centimeter. And I was like, yes. Like, we know that things are moving along. Anyways, so then she checked me again and she said, you're 1.5 centimeters. And I was like, oh my God. So she said she was going to go ahead and give my doctor a call. And she was like, we'll just wait and see if it progresses or anything. So she walks out and I was like, they're going to send me home. So she comes back in and my doctor didn't answer because it was like 2 in the morning at that time. And so she was just like, so you want them to be stronger and harder. And she was showing me on the chart and I was like, okay. And she's like, you want to come when they're 3 minutes apart. So for all you who are wondering, don't listen to the 5 minutes apart thing. Disregard that. It's 3 minutes apart. And then she says that could go on for days. And in my head, I was like, oh my God. Like, I hope this doesn't go on for days. And we did go back home. And once we went back home, that was when I would say that was when I moved on to my active labor. So that was when my contractions did start to get harder. And I just told you, I was like, well, I'm still in pain, So that's when we started to begin our comfort measures that we learned during our birthing class. What did we do? Oh, we laid down.
We put your, what's your body pillow around us?
Oh, yeah, I had one of those big maternity pillows. So I laid on that, and we learned to play some relaxing music. He started rubbing my head and, just relaxing me. What else did you do? Is that it?
Pretty much rubbing your head because that's what you really enjoyed.
And it was pretty late.
Oh, and we were breathing too.
Yeah. Well, that's when we started doing our breathing exercises because that's another thing you learn in birthing class. You learn how to breathe because that's pretty much all you can do when you're having contractions. I know that it's the hardest thing, but you really do need to relax. Once we got sent home, I kind of knew that we were just going to have to go through our contractions on our own, which is fine. But the biggest thing, is you just need to be calm. And
just don't freak out and relax.
Mm-hmm. Even though I know if you're pregnant, it probably sounds like the most impossible thing to do. But you're just going to have to look past it and just relax and remember that our bodies were made to reproduce. So we had fallen asleep, and I do remember waking up during my sleep and telling him, like, this is getting stronger. So my contractions were definitely getting stronger. But I kept telling myself, my doctor's appointment is at 8, so I just gotta wait. So I woke up like 7 and I was like, okay, I need to find something to put on, look normal. And I was in a lot of pain. That was definitely my active labor. That was when I was in active labor. Your mood changes. I was definitely serious. I was more focused on trying to relax. Walking was getting a little difficult because the contractions were stronger. So I needed to stop and, hold on to something because it was getting really painful. So we got into the car and we showed up at the doctor's, and at my doctor's, the wait was really long. It was ridiculous.
Didn't matter if we got there early. We always had to
My
wait for a
appointment
while.
was like, let's say 10. I would go in at 11:15, and I'm not exaggerating. And we waited for the doctor, and my contractions were definitely hard. I was really afraid, because going to the hospital the first time scared me. I mean, when she told me that I was only 1.5 centimeters, I was like, crap, like I was in pain. I was still in a good mood. And so I was telling myself, if I haven't dilated, I might need an epidural because I was in a lot of pain. So I was just like, oh no, like I'm really not looking forward to this. Like, this is what people are talking about. Um, so we waited for my doctor, and she was taking a really long time. But when she finally got there, she did check my cervix, and she told me, that was when she said, hey, guess what? You're 7 centimeters dilated. And I was like, oh my god. She's like, we're gonna have a baby today. My eyes got so watery. They're getting watery right now. I was just so excited. I was like, oh my god. Especially when she said 7 centimeters. That was when I told myself, I can do this. I was like, I don't need an epidural. Like, this is fine. Like, if this is the pain, like, I'm gonna be okay. That was when I knew that I was gonna be fine. So she looked at us. She's like, I'm gonna give the hospital a call, and I'll see you guys there. So we left. We left and we went down to the car. That was really hard. Walking was really hard. I had to stop. Like, my contractions were pretty hard. So I had to stop, and we made it to the hospital. And that was when I text everybody. I text my sisters. I text everybody. I let them know. And I said, the doctor sent me to the hospital. I'll see you guys there. When we arrived at the hospital, it was great because, well, actually, the night before when we had gone, there was a wheelchair.
There was multiple wheelchairs.
There was like 5 wheelchairs. And he had asked me, do you want a wheelchair? And I looked at him and I said, should I get the wheelchair? And I said, you know what, let's just get the wheelchair. It was in the moment. So we had a wheelchair. Mind you, the next day when I was having really
she couldn't walk.
I could not walk. There were no wheelchairs, which sucked. And the security goes, oh, they just took my last wheelchair. You would think that he would say, if you wait, we can get you another one. No, he didn't. So I had to walk. It was a really long hallway, and I had to walk all the way down, and I did it. I remember there was another pregnant girl who was doing the same thing. But when we finally got up to labor and delivery, they were waiting for me, which is awesome. So I went in right away, and I met my nurse for the first time. Her name was Melissa Oliver. I loved her. She was a great nurse.
She was really nice.
Yes.
Very supportive too.
So nice. I was very happy about that. And so she hooked me up, and she was like, I heard you're gonna go all natural. And I was like, I hope so. And I had asked her then, I said, well, how bad is it gonna get? And she said, you know what, she had said you were 7 centimeters. I'm gonna tell you right now, this is the worst it's gonna get. And I was like, okay, I can do this. I just gotta keep breathing, keep relaxing. That's it. That's all I gotta do. So then after she hooked me up, she got me in my gown. So she checked my cervix again, and at that point I was I 8 or was I 9?
You were 8 when we were at the when we waited a little bit.
Yeah. So we got to the hospital and I was 8, and that's when I was like, okay, we're going. After that, I was not moving. My cervix is not dilating anymore after that.
Well, it was once you got to 9. That's when.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but we were there for a little bit. My sister got there really early, so she came in for a little bit, and I was like, "Hey, hi,
That's when
bye."
she was still like a little friendly.
I was a little bit. I was excited to see her, of course,
Yeah.
but I was in a lot of pain. So it was not so perky. um, and I was still walking around. We did learn this other technique where we would rock. He would hold me and we would rock, and that one was really good. I did that a lot. Um, we did get out the birthing ball. That didn't help me. I have heard that it's helped a lot of people though, so you should definitely try it.
Try whatever makes you comfortable.
Yes. So that's the biggest thing. Just keep trying. Even if you're not comfortable, don't give up. Just keep trying. I moved around a lot, and I recommend that a lot. If you don't have an epidural, stay on your feet and keep moving. It definitely helps you dilate. Um, so I do have a disclaimer. I'm not bashing anybody who has had an epidural. I do know whether it's your first kid or your third kid, be prepared for the unexpected. If you did have an epidural, I'm still proud of you. It's a lot to go through. Everyone's body is different, and they're never gonna know what it feels like. So they can't say anything at all.
They shouldn't say anything.
Ever. Labor it wasn't a piece of cake. I was in a lot of pain. But when I speak so highly of my labor and I said that I had a really good labor, it's because I do know a lot of people who have had worse. So I couldn't have had the best.
And mentally and physically, she prepared herself for it.
Yeah. So I did a lot of preparing. I didn't just go into it saying I'm not going to have an epidural. And I also didn't say that I wasn't going to. People would ask me and I would say I'm going to do whatever I feel in that moment. Because I didn't know what to expect. So I just told myself and I told him whatever I feel in that moment, I'm going to do. You know? And I didn't feel like it wasn't anything that I could not handle, so I was definitely fine going on natural. After that, she had checked me again and I was still 8 centimeters, and that's when she said, well, when the doctor gets here, we can break your water and hopefully that will help. My doctor did not get there very fast, so when she finally did get there, I was scared to get my water broken. I did want it to happen on its own. Um, Sadly, it did not happen. They had to talk me into it for a little bit. They were like, you know what, if you want the baby to come, we're gonna have to break your water. And I was like, okay. I don't know what it was that she used. It was just a really long
I didn't
stick.
Get to see
You didn't see that? Well, it was just this it looked like it was gonna hurt. She's gonna stick it inside and poke your water. It did not hurt at all, actually. It was just like a balloon popped and it's warm. And that's just all it was. So after that, I did move to 9 centimeters. Then I just did not go anywhere. I was there for.
I think we waited until you were ready to go for like.
Well, it was pretty much the entire time I was at the hospital.
Yeah, like 3 hours.
I was there for a total of 4 hours. I mean, from when I got there to when I had my daughter, it was about 4 hours. So like those 3 hours, I was just having contractions, which sucked a little bit because everybody got there and everybody wanted to be in there and see me, but I was just ready to have the baby and I was having contractions. I didn't want anybody to see me in pain. I wasn't screaming.
There was one part where she got mad at me though.
I don't know. It's just when you're there, you do get dizzy and you do get nauseous. So he was there holding my hand, and he got close to me, and I was like, "Be here with me. I want you to be here." And he moved, And I was like, don't move. I want you to stay here. And I grabbed him and I was like, don't move. I don't know, it just was comfort for me for him to be right there in my face.
The only
I was on the
reason
bed.
why I was moving though was because I was uncomfortable. Because I was laying on the bed by
He was
her, and I
uncomfortable.
was like this.
He was uncomfortable.
Sorry.
I wasn't
No, she
crazy.
was actually like. How can I put in words? She was just really brave, you know. Like me watching her go through all that pain and keeping her cool, breathing. Like I was just really proud of her. Like she did wonderful.
Thank you. um, yeah, the nurse was really nice too. She was very supportive. Um, she did help me a lot, and she did tell me that she was really proud of me. Everyone told me they were proud of me. When I would see my contractions on the chart, and the strong ones, I did see them go all the way up. And those were the ones where I would definitely tear up a bit, and I would say, I can't do it. Like, I can't do it. And I would look at him and I would say, no, like, this one's too hard. And he's like, it's okay, just keep breathing, just keep breathing. Um, then I moved on to my transition stage. And that was when I was getting the urge to push. I started feeling like I needed to push, and I would tell my nurse that I needed to push, and she was like, no, like, you can't push, your cervix isn't dilated. It's not very good for you to push if your cervix hasn't dilated completely. It will damage your cervix. um, so I just kept trying different positions. I knew that I didn't want to push laying down. My doctor was fine with it, so I did want to do different positions. So we tried hands and knees, and that was when I started to relax a little bit more. I was falling asleep during contractions, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It was very awkward, but that was when I finally got to relax a bit, and I did fall asleep during my contractions. I got very hot and nauseous, and Alfredo
The
and the
nurse,
nurse,
yeah.
they were blowing air at me. Oh, it felt like the best thing ever. It was the sweetest thing when they were literally just blowing air with paper at me. And that felt really good. Um, After that, I kept fighting the urge. It was really, really difficult to fight the urge. Sorry. So then the second stage of labor is when you start to push. And was I on my side?
Yeah, you were on your.
I was on my left side.
No, a lot on your right side.
I think I turned.
No, you.
I
turned,
started on
yeah,
my left side.
but you were mainly on your right side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started on my left, and they put the stool up, so I had one leg up. And she was like, okay, when your contraction comes, that's when you're gonna push. And everybody counted. That's when they got all the nurses in, and they started getting everything ready for the baby. So many people walk in that moment. I think once you're ready to push, they like have a squad that just shows up, and everybody is just around you ready to like give the injections and do everything. So a whole bunch of people just walked into the room, and they were like, okay, next contraction, you're gonna push. The longest moment ever. Everyone was just staring at me, everyone was around me, and I was like, I'm sorry.
She kept apologizing to everyone.
Everybody kept saying,
and they kept saying she was so sweet and joyful because she would still smile.
because it was just so awkward, I was like, I'm sorry that my contraction is not coming fast enough, that you all have to stare at me. And so yeah, that was funny. So when it finally came, I pushed, and everyone was like, oh, we can see her hair. At my hospital, they had this light, and it was on the ceiling, and they turned it off, and I was able to see the reflection perfectly, which was awesome. I think at other hospitals they have mirrors. So that's just up to you if you want to see your labor, but I was able to see, which is amazing. And I did see her crowning. They said she had a full head of hair, which is so funny. That was the first thing we saw, and I kept pushing. I think I did a really good job pushing.
You did.
It did not hurt. I felt relieved. It felt amazing, honestly. To me, it felt amazing to just push. And I was scared. I remember asking the nurse, what does it feel like when she's going to come out? You know, like if this is how my contractions feel, what does it feel like when she's going to come out? Because I didn't have an epidural. So I was scared. It was my first pregnancy. And she said that other women had described it as the ring of fire. So just like a really huge burning sensation. Um, I felt it. It wasn't anything crazy. I did not scream at all. I was very calm. So I was able to see the reflection, and I was watching her, and she was coming out. I saw her head coming out, you know. I noticed that I tore because I just started to see just a whole gush of blood just came out. And that's when I was like, oh, I think I tore. So I looked away because there was just so much blood. I didn't really want to see that. And right when I looked away, my doctor had said, look over here. And I was like, no, I don't want to because I didn't want to see all that blood. Had I known that was the second my daughter was going to come out, I would have looked. So I missed that. He got to see that. You saw when she came out, her whole body.
Out, yeah.
I felt it. I felt her squirm out of me. That because I knew when I looked away, she was like, "Look over here," and I was like, "No." And then I felt her just squirm out, and I was like, "Oh my god, my daughter!" It was so. It was just the cutest thing ever when she came out. Did you cry? I didn't.
Yeah, I teared up a bit.
I thought I was gonna cry. I was.
You were just shocked.
I was in shock. First thing I said, I was like, she looks just like you. I looked at him and I was like, she looks just like you. But they put her down. I did skin to skin. They put her on my chest, and I was just so shocked. I was like, oh my god.
I just couldn't believe it.
Like, did I just did she just come out of me? Like, I just did this all natural. Like, it honestly wasn't as painful. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, and it was just the best thing ever. You know, she was so warm, and you know, in that moment, everything is just perfect. You know, like it's so cliche, and people say like you're gonna. It's just the best moment. I wish I can go back to that day, every day. I really do.
She still wishes every now and then that she's pregnant.
I wish.
She misses her belly.
It's just one of the best days that you could ever have. I know that the worst part of the entire thing were my stitches. After the third stage would be your placenta, and then you have your stitches. I think we did take a picture of my placenta.
Yeah,
I didn't push. I didn't have to push. I think, did she pull it out? I don't remember.
I don't remember. It's just because we were just.
Yeah, our daughter was already there. I know
just...
I didn't have to push my placenta though. I don't know how that happened. I was paying attention to my daughter, but then she goes to do my sutures, and I was like, "What are you doing?" Like, I thought this was over. That I definitely felt so much. Just I felt the stitches. I felt the needle go in. It was just horrible. And she was like, "Pay attention to your daughter." And I was like, "I can't. Like you're like I couldn't." So I don't think I had that many. I didn't ask how many I got.
Yeah, we forgot to ask.
But it didn't last very long. I want to say maybe like 2 or 3. That's how many times I felt the needle go in. But I didn't feel anything. I was super swollen because I was still able to see. I was crazy swollen. It was just insane. She did tell me that I was really swollen, but it was insane. So after that, you go into your 4th stage, and that's your recovery and your postpartum. And that was, I didn't realize how much pain I was actually in until my recovery. And I can do a separate video on that on my postpartum. I can do a video on everything that helped me go through a natural labor, you know, no epidural. I did have a lot of things that I kept in mind, and I prepared myself very well. Let me know. Give this video a thumbs up if you want to see those videos. But as far as that was our daughter's birth story. Madeline Rose,
Hey.
Madeline Rose. Say hey, cutie. What do you think? Say hi. Gorgeous. Okay, everyone. So, like I said, this is my first YouTube video, and I would love to make more. If you have any ideas or if you have any questions, comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you wanted
Thumbs
to
up.
hear about my postpartum. And that's it. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.